In February of 2026, the chief executive of the most valuable company in the world gave a confidential briefing to a small circle of American intelligence officials in Washington. When the meeting ended, he told them on the record that he had been sleeping with one eye open. The executive was Tim Cook. The reason he could not sleep was that the survival of Apple as a company depended on the continued existence of a single industrial site on the western edge of the Pacific Ocean, 200 kilometers from the coast of mainland China. That site was the property of a Taiwanese company called Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. We know it as TSMC. TSMC makes the chips inside your phone, the chips inside Nvidia's data centers, the chips that train every leading artificial intelligence model on Earth. It makes 90%, let that number land, 90% of the most advanced semiconductors on the planet. Samsung has tried for 30 years and built 7%. Intel was once the leader and now buys TSMC chips for its own laptops. China has spent more than $1 trillion trying to catch up and is, by serious assessments, 12 years behind. In 2025, the Council on Foreign Relations described China's military exercises around Taiwan as no longer symbolic, but in their phrasing, rehearsals. This is the story of how one island captured the world's most important industry, and what happens when the world realizes it too late. In 1987, a 56-year-old engineer named Morris Chang left a comfortable retirement and accepted an unusual offer from the government of Taiwan. Chang had been born in mainland China, educated at MIT and Stanford, and had spent 25 years at Texas Instruments. By the early 1980s, he had reached the ceiling of what an Asian-born executive of that era could climb inside an American multinational. He had quietly resigned. What the Taiwanese government wanted from him was not exactly an executive. They wanted him to invent something that did not yet exist. At the time, the semiconductor industry was organized in a particular way. A company like Intel designed its chips, manufactured them in its own factories, and sold them under its own name. There were no chip companies in 1987 that did not also own factories. And there were no factories that would manufacture a chip for a company that did not own one. Chang's idea was to build that factory. He proposed a company that would design nothing. It would never sell a chip under its own name. It would simply manufacture on contract the designs of any customer who walked in the door. In the language of business strategy, he had spotted a category that no incumbent could enter without cannibalizing itself. Because once Intel made chips for Apple, it would also be telling Apple what every other Intel customer was buying. The Taiwanese government bet on him. 48% of the founding capital came from the national treasury. Philips Electronics contributed 27%. 8 Taiwanese conglomerates put in the rest. For the first decade, the bet looked uncertain. TSMC made small chips on old processes for small customers. Then, in the autumn of 2014, Apple released the iPhone 6. The processor inside it, the A8, was the first volume chip Apple had ever designed in-house rather than bought. It had been manufactured by TSMC. Within 5 years, every Apple device on Earth used a TSMC chip. Within 10, so did every Nvidia data center. Today, TSMC's annual revenue is $90 billion. 70% of the world's foundry market and 90% of the most advanced chips flow out of 3 industrial parks on a single island. To understand how fragile TSMC's monopoly is, you have to understand that TSMC itself depends on a smaller, even more concentrated monopoly upstream. A modern semiconductor is built by projecting light onto a silicon wafer, etching patterns measured in single nanometers. For any chip smaller than 7 nanometers, which is to say every cutting-edge chip in the world, the only light source precise enough is called extreme ultraviolet. There is exactly one company on Earth that makes extreme ultraviolet lithography machines. It is called ASML. It is based in Veldhoven in the Netherlands. A single ASML machine costs $380 million. It is the size of a double-decker bus. It arrives at TSMC's fabs in 250 crates and takes 250 engineers 6 months to assemble. TSMC owns more of these machines than any other customer on Earth. China is forbidden from buying them, first by Dutch export controls, then, after October of 2022, by aligned restrictions from the United States and Japan. If you wanted today to build a fab capable of competing with TSMC at the cutting edge, you would first have to build your own EUV machines. ASML has been at it since the 1980s. They have never been duplicated. For most of TSMC's history, its largest customer was Apple. As of 2025, that is no longer true. The new largest customer is Nvidia. The reason is artificial intelligence. Every leading AI model, from OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Meta, is trained on data centers full of Nvidia chips. Every one of those chips is manufactured by TSMC. There is no second source. In the second quarter of 2025, 60% of TSMC's total revenue came from AI orders. The chief executive of TSMC, C.C. Wei, told analysts on a quarterly call that his capacity was sold out through 2025 and into 2026. The bottleneck, he clarified, was not the wafers. It was a particular kind of advanced packaging that only TSMC can do, called CoWoS, chip-on-wafer-on-substrate. CoWoS is what allows a logic chip and its memory to be stacked into a single package small enough for a data center rack. Nvidia has reserved more than 60% of TSMC's CoWoS capacity for the next 2 years, which means that even if China copied TSMC's logic fabs tomorrow, it could not produce a competitive AI chip. The packaging would still be a Taiwanese monopoly. In September of 2023, Huawei released a phone with a 7-nanometer chip manufactured by the Chinese foundry SMIC. The news was greeted as a breakthrough, proof that export controls had failed. When analysts took the chip apart, the picture was more complicated. SMIC had achieved 7 nanometers without an EUV machine, by running older equipment in a technique called multi-patterning. It works technically. It is twice as expensive as TSMC's process, and the yield on the percentage of chips that come out usable is around 33%. TSMC's equivalent yield is above 90%. In the meantime, every commercial AI system on Earth is built on chips that, at some point, pass through a building in the Hsinchu Science Park, 200 kilometers from the People's Liberation Army's Eastern Theater Command. In August of 2022, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, made an unannounced visit to Taipei. She was the highest-ranking American official to set foot on the island in 25 years. The visit had 2 stops of substance. The first was the Taiwanese parliament. The second was the headquarters of TSMC, where Pelosi met privately with Chairman Mark Liu. The image was deliberate. American political power flying to Taiwan, going to TSMC, photographing a meeting. The message, to anyone who could read it, was that the United States now considered the company part of its strategic infrastructure. Beijing responded with the largest military exercises ever conducted around the island. Ballistic missiles flew over Taiwan for the first time in recorded history. Cyber attacks ran at 23 times their normal daily volume. In January of 2024, Taiwanese voters elected a president named Lai Ching-te from a party Beijing has repeatedly labeled separatist. 48 hours later, a small Pacific nation called Nauru switched its diplomatic recognition from Taiwan to the People's Republic. By the autumn of 2025, the Council on Foreign Relations was issuing assessments about Taiwan in language that had not been used since the 1990s. Chinese military drills around the island, they wrote, had stopped looking like symbolism. They had started looking like rehearsals. In February of 2026, the director of the Central Intelligence Agency convened a series of confidential briefings with the senior executives of major American technology companies. The briefings concerned a possible Chinese military move on Taiwan as early as 2027. Tim Cook attended one of those briefings. It is what he was referring to when he later said that he had been sleeping with one eye open. What is at stake in plain terms is this. A confidential analysis prepared for the United States government in 2022 concluded that the loss of Taiwanese chip supply would reduce American GDP by approximately 11%. It would be the worst single economic event since the Great Depression. There is a contingency discussed in policy circles in Washington and never officially confirmed that addresses this. If a Chinese invasion of Taiwan appeared inevitable, the United States, or Taiwan itself, would destroy TSMC's fabs before they could be captured. The logic is grim and simple. Better that no one have advanced chips than that Beijing have them alone. According to reporting that TSMC has never denied, the company has added a remote disabling capability to its EUV machines. A chain of commands from a sufficiently senior authority can render any machine in any fab inoperable within minutes. The Taiwanese Defense Ministry has stated publicly that it would not permit such an action. The American defense establishment has stated publicly nothing. In 1987, Morris Chang set out to build a factory. In 2026, the factory he built is the most important industrial site on Earth, the largest customer of the world's most exclusive equipment monopoly, the sole supplier of every leading artificial intelligence system in existence, and the explicit subject of contingency wargaming in Washington, Beijing, and Taipei. It sits today on an island of 24 million people, holding 90% of the world's advanced chip supply, 200 kilometers from the largest army on Earth. Tim Cook is not the only one sleeping with one eye open. Next file from the quiet trade. The company you have never heard of in Veldhoven, in the Netherlands, that builds the only machines that can build the chips, and why one Dutch monopoly is the actual choke point above TSMC.